Good morning, everyone. Good evening. Today is the 20th of May, and it's a little bit gloomy here, but wherever you are, I hope it's a little bit more cheerful and bright and sunny. And today we're going to be talking about productivity and essential oils for productivity. And I hope that if you're on and you have a friend who'd like to hop on, you'll send them a quick text message and say to them, hey, get on. We'd love to see you on here. I think we're actually, we're a little bit, I don't see it, I see people hopping on now, so I'm going to wait one more minute before I actually start showing the slides. As you know, all of these Zoom classes are recorded and they are posted to Team Power Diamond and Oil Camp Alumni, as well as 2 or 3 other private pages. If you're a member of those pages, you may have seen this being posted on there. Today, oils for productivity and actually how to get more productive. And I think that there's some things that maybe I do that I've never shared that I wanted to touch base with you and see what are you doing for productivity. It is the 3rd week in the month. We have about another 11 days before the end of May. May is a little bit of a longer month for us. Tell us how are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you buying? What are you involved in? I'm actually running some promotions for some people on my team right now. And if you're running a promotion and you'd like to find out what I'm doing, then send me a text message. I'd love to hear from you. So let me share my screen and then let's get started. Okay. Okay, here we go. I think everybody on the call knows me at this point, but in case you don't, I'm Elena Jordan. And I want to just welcome you here to our Monday evening webinar. We are here, we've been here for actually 6 years, if you can believe it. And it's every Monday evening at the same time. So if you're joining us from Southeast Asia, from Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, any parts of Southeast Asia, good evening. 9 p.m. If you're joining us from Europe, good afternoon. And if you're joining us from the United States, good morning. It's a kind of cloudy morning here, but I'm happy to be with all of you. And I want to say thank you to our Presidential Diamond team. This is a hard-working group of men and women. If you are on Instagram, please take a moment to get onto Elena Jordan and follow. We did a shout out. I did a shout out this morning to our Presidential Diamond team, just to all the hardworking men and women that support us every day, that are active in this business. And I just want to spread the word and kind of spread the love. So if you're on Instagram, please take a look at Elena Jordan and see the shout out today to the team. The ideas from this presentation are taken from the book, primarily from the book Essential Oils Healthcare for Today, which is a beginner's guide, and it talks about the top 50 health issues. It's fondly known as the LRP book. And one of the things that I like about it is that it is the basic oils that we all kind of have grown to love. It's one of those things where there's a lot of products, new products that are out on the market, which we really love the new products, of course, but some of the old favorites are the ones that people buy again and again and again. Things like lavender, lemon, peppermint, eucalyptus, and this has 150 different LRPs for you to really work on. So how did you, I guess if you've ever wondered how to get and keep your team on a loyalty rewards or auto ship program, this book can be your answer. And it's gives you 150 pre-calculated orders, all guaranteed to be at least 100 PV. These are the core products that are available in most markets, with an emphasis on our signature vitamin and mineral supplements, LLV, or lifelong vitality. So loyalty rewards are the lifeblood of your businesses and really the beating heart. So you want to make sure that your heart is beating strongly. Do you have a productivity plan? If you don't have a productivity plan, or if you've never built one for yourself before, I'm here to help you start. We're going to have a lot of tips. I encourage you to get out a pencil and paper today, because there are going to be a lot of concrete things that you can find out and learn. And also some notes if you want to, obviously, if you're not a pencil and paper person, take a photograph of the screen, because I think there's things that you're going to learn today. Okay, so number one, these are some of the things that I do in the morning, and some of the tips that I do. Number one is I read in the morning. I learned a long time ago when I was in high school that one of the best ways to get your brain functioning when you're about to take a standardized test. So we have our national exams here, we have our standard aptitude tests, and we have other tests for college and entrance exams and so on, is to read something difficult. Read something that you're perhaps not familiar with reading. So you can pick up a newspaper perhaps and read something about politics or engineering or science. If you are an engineer or politician, then don't read that. Read something maybe about cooking or baking or travel. Something that's completely unfamiliar to you. Why? Because it helps the brain to begin to focus and see new material in a new way. So I find that even 5 minutes of reading in the morning can really get me up and started. Now, I try to read for 15 to 30 minutes, but I don't always get the luxury of finishing off. I am an early riser, as all of you know, and I'm usually up before my family, even on weekends. So I do take the chance to kind of go into a quiet place, sit down with a book, and read a little bit. I love to read, and I'm usually juggling, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm usually juggling 5 books at a time. And I kind of cycle through them until I finish one, and then I add a new one. And they can be from all different genres. They may be fiction, or perhaps I'm reading something on business or psychology, behavior, or personal development. Also, I read inspirational books, books on faith. I've read historical novels. I've read biographies. So I'm not faithful to any one genre. I'm always kind of hopping around. And I find that for me, if I'm not interested in one thing, I hop on to the next. And it's been that way my whole life. And I'm an avid reader, I guess, if you would say, and always plowing through a different book. So the subjects I personally find interesting are books on business, psychology, behavior, or personal development. They boost my creativity and inspire me for the day. I especially like books, biographies, because I find that people who have achieved anything in life have usually struggled against something. They've had some sort of challenge that they've come up against, and to see another human being supersede those challenges and rise above them can be very inspiring. The other thing that I do, and I recommended this, I think, 2 calls ago, is I put on an app called Insight Timer. What I love about this particular timer is that you can do either pre-recorded meditations, if that's something that you like, and there are literally thousands of them on this app, and the app is 100% free, unless you decide to do some of the premium programs, but there's a lot of content available completely free of charge. Or you can do just a basic timer, and you can choose to have a bell that indicates when your time is up, or you can have intermediate bells. I think I mentioned last time that what I do is 3 minutes of gratitude, just kind of throwing out thoughts of gratitude, 3 minutes of sending prayers out to everyone that I can think of, including all of you, and then 3 minutes of kind of focusing my brain for the next day. I do this the day ahead. So I'll be thinking about today, I need to work with my assistant, or I'm putting on the call, and just really wrapping my head around how it's going to go well, how I'm going to be achieving the thing that I want to get to, and what are my next steps. And before even writing, I make sure that I've gone through that mental exercise of preparing my brain. The other thing that I do in the morning is I don't read my emails, because I find that if the first thing that I do is open my phone and start reading my emails, my day goes down a totally unexpected path. Usually I'll see news on there that either I don't like or that's making me mad. Maybe it's something that'll make me happy, but I can be happy later on in the day. What I love is that by not opening my emails, I set the pace for my own day. And so I don't go down the rabbit hole of looking at things that are on sale or something, some interesting thing that somebody sent me. There's always something interesting outside of our front door. But if you're going to do great work, folks, if you're really going to do profound work, you're going to need to find those quiet moments where you can work and concentrate and do the things that you need to do. Now, that can be planning what your upcoming meetings are. It can be setting up a session for yourself, a work session with some of the members of your team. It can be looking at your numbers for the previous month. It can be preparing a promotion or a slide presentation, but it's not about being on the internet or being in front of your phone. So that the hard work, if you will, the deep work that we need to do to really move the needle in our businesses has to be done in those quiet moments. So my first things of the day, and I'm talking to you a little bit about what my schedule is, I use 3 oils every single day. I use first thing in the morning, 2 drops of frankincense, 2 drops of grapefruit under my tongue, and then 4 drops of lemongrass in a capsule. Now, as I was going through this protocol last night, I actually found a diffuser recipe for it, and I was so impressed that I put it here. It's actually called Spring Fling, which is perfect for now, and I'm going to start diffusing it today. One of my assistants, Sophia, just came in, so if you hear a little bit of like pitter-pat of a little mouse in the background, that's Sophia. And I think this is really going to smell great. I love the idea of the warm floral geranium with the spicy frankincense, with the tartness of the grapefruit and the lemongrass. I think it's going to be a great addition. The other thing that I do is I drink about 1/4 liter of water with that. Not a ton. I'm not drinking a ton of water because sometimes I have to get out of the door quickly. This morning I was up at around 5:30, out. And to drive my son to school. My daughter's here for the next couple of weeks, and there are 4 drivers sharing 2 cars. So you can imagine it's a little bit sticky. And my son has been the one who really has been the one who's compromising every day. So he got a lift to school this morning. Okay, now we talked a little bit about interruptions to the best of your ability. So the first thing is I don't pick up my phone and read my emails first thing in the morning. I don't answer my emails first thing in the morning. And this has been sort of a long-standing practice for me. So even answering a quick call or text message may seem innocuous, but even brief interruptions appear to produce a change in work pattern and a corresponding drop in productivity. Minimizing interruptions may mean setting office hours, keeping your door closed. So if you work in a space and you always have your door open, try closing your door or working in a different location for time-sensitive projects. If you feel the need to increase your productivity, resist the temptation to put in longer hours or pack more into your already full calendar. Instead, take a step back and think about ways you can work smarter, not harder. Many of us are on this kind of hamster wheel of doing just tons of things all day long, every day. And sometimes that just stop, think, evaluate can be exactly what it is that you need to do. Very often when I'm working with one of my assistants, we work for 45 minutes or an hour, and then we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll discuss, okay, where are we going? What do we need to get done? And then we'll reconvene. We do usually work with our door closed so that everybody else in the household, and I work from home, doesn't come in or ask for a snack or call down the stairs or start vacuuming the rug as we're in here. So we're able to just work and concentrate in actually a beautiful, bright, and cheery space. And that makes all the difference. I'm going to talk about that too. Now, essential oil-based products. So I really feel that the essential oil-based products that I use on a daily basis help me with my productivity. Why? Because they decrease my exposure to toxins. And I have to tell you that the body wash is my hands down favorite oil-based product. Now, of course, I love my vitamins and my minerals and so on, but of the body products, this is absolutely my favorite. And I have it in all the bathrooms in my house. So of course I take my vitamins in the morning. Right now I'm taking the daily nutrient pack with some other supplements. I'm not taking LLV. And the reason for that is I'm really adding in a little bit more Deep Blue and other antioxidant capsules. So I'm not taking the Alpha CRS. I do take a shower with a shower gel, brush my teeth with the toothpaste. Of course, we have On Guard hand soap in all of our bathrooms, and then I'm using the hydrating cream on my face, among other things. But I really believe that using the oil-based products helps my productivity because I'm not exposed to things that are super toxic right off the bat. I know that my liver is a little bit cleaner because I'm choosing things that are better for me and better for the environment. Okay, let's talk about self-imposed deadlines. So because we work in the industry that we do, and because most of us work completely independently, and many of us do this full time, I know some of you have other jobs that you have to, that you go to each day, it is important for us to set deadlines that we are meeting and not just have the amorphous deadline of, oh, May 31st is the end of the month. You want to make sure that you're taking time to set deadlines for yourself in terms of how many calls you're going to make in a week, how many products you're intending to promote, maybe how many videos you're going to be posting on your Facebook page, or how you're going to be engaging in oil camp or another activity, how many one-on-ones, how many classes. All of those things are super important, and we don't get to those things on a monthly basis, our business will begin to decline. So we tend to think of stress as a bad thing, but a manageable level of self-imposed stress can actually be helpful in terms of giving us focus and helping us to meet our goals. For open-ended tasks or projects, try giving yourself a deadline and then stick to it. So for example, I often set myself the deadline of the 15th of each month. And on that deadline, I want to make sure that I've presented all the products of the month to the team so that I've kind of spread the word. I want to make sure that I'm a conduit for information. So if the company is sending out information, or I'm hearing information, maybe from other distributors, or I've heard something new, I want to make sure that I'm passing that information along. I want to make sure that by the 15th, I've set up all my meetings for the month. Now, I'm doing this usually on a weekly basis on a Sunday night. But if by the 15th, I see that my schedule is still, or maybe the 12th, my schedule is still a little bit sparse, I'll begin to make calls and ask people, can I come in to see you? Could I have a meeting? Could we meet together? Could you put together a group? And usually that's the sort of the exterior deadline that's imposed upon me. And in terms of watching the clock, actual clock deadlines, I work with 2 assistants in my office that come in at different times, and we absolutely work to a time deadline. Usually they're in by about 8:30 or 9 a.m., and we work till about 1 or 2 p.m., and that can be everything from putting together presentations to calling people to sending out packages, but we're making sure that we're meeting the deadlines that are imposed upon us. Now, it seems it's very easy to say, I'm going to do a Zoom class, and I'm going to do it sometime during the month. What we want to do is really establish the date and then stick to it. One of the reasons I love doing this Zoom class every Monday is that it puts me on notice that I have to be producing a presentation, and I have to be ready to speak live every Monday evening. It's super important for all of us to have these sorts of deadlines because people begin to depend on us, and then we show up as leaders and as people that are sharing this product. So one of the tricks that I use all the time is that I set 45-minute timers for myself when I work alone so that I can stay on task. Now, I'm a person who usually works with music, so some sort of low-level music. And in our office, it's usually country music, but you can put on whatever it is that you like best. And that kind of keeps me motivated. It's also like a trigger. So I have my diffuser on, I have my music playing, and of course when I'm doing this call, I don't have any of that going on because it'll be picking up on the microphone. But the idea is that I have certain cues that I follow, that I hear those things and I say, okay, ready to sit down and work. Okay, so essential oils for focus. What do I use? I put Balance and On Guard on my feet almost every single day. I think that they help me in a way that I can't even say, certainly protecting my immune system and getting me to a steady state every day. I keep Intune by my desk. Now, I don't use it every single day. I have other roll-ons. I've even have roll-ons gifts that people have given me that I love to use that I keep on my desk, but I usually have some sort of roll-on close by. As I said, I have music playing, and then I always have a diffuser running usually with citrus oils, bergamot, lime, lemon, grapefruit, and I mix them quite frequently with Siberian fir and pink pepper. And the reason I do that is because I feel like the pink pepper is bright and clean, really has that kind of wake you up sort of a smell, and Siberian fir can be very grounding, helping us to focus. So I like to sit at my desk and have just kind of this very zen but upbeat environment. Okay, you want to give yourself something nice to look at. That was part of my motivation today with changing out the scenery behind me, because I know sometimes I have just a whole bunch of messy pens and pencils, and while that's very functional for me, it may not be too beautiful for you all to look at when you're looking at me. It may sound unlikely, but research actually shows that outfitting an office with aesthetically pleasing elements like plants can increase productivity by up to 15%. So if your workspace, if your office is not looking too beautiful, it's a little shabby or maybe disorganized or messy, time to kind of increase your productivity by making it neat. You can, of course, add pictures, a diffuser, flowers, anything that puts a smile on your face. And I'm going to actually go over 15 proven tips to be happy at work, courtesy of John Rampton of Inc. magazine. If you've never read Inc. magazine, it's a great one for business people. And he says that there are actually ways to increase your happiness quotient. So I know sometimes some of the tasks that we have to do can be boring, tedious. We don't want to sit down and do them. Sometimes we have to put in a transfer agreement or fill in a sponsor change form, and we're thinking, oh, I don't want to do it. But if you motivate yourself by having a good, cheerful, bright space, and those associations begin to click in, they become habits. It'll be easier for you to sit down and actually do the work you need to do. So something beautiful to look at. I actually love this desk. It's one that I had considered purchasing. I think I've mentioned to you before, I do work at a glass desk. Mine is actually a little bit bigger than this. This is just such a beautiful photograph of a place to work that's so fresh, that scenery behind the chair and the flowers and the big branch. It just really was so cheerful and light. I loved it, and all the lucky elephants on the wall and on the photograph on the floor. Okay, so 15 proven tips to be happy at work. Have a sense of meaning. If you're going into sit down and work and you're thinking, oh, I don't even know why I'm doing this. Wait, stop. Why am I doing this? Let's get back to your why. Create an office nest. Now, I know some of you don't actually have space within your homes where you can do this, but if you have a specific place where you go to that you associate with work, whether it's a coffee shop, shared workspace, wherever it is, that's really the best way for you to get started. In the beginning, especially, you don't want to be a drifter, that you're kind of working in any little corner that you can find. You want to set those mental parameters for yourself so that you have your little nest that you're getting into work. Find a work best friend. It can be someone who's crossline or downline or upline, or maybe even someone in a different industry that just kind of helps you and keeps you on track. We call them sometimes accountability partners. It's a great thing to have a work best friend. Smile. I know whenever I have to write text messages or emails, and this may sound ridiculous to some of you, I actually smile at my phone. And research shows that when we smile at our phones, we tend to write something that's a little bit nicer or kinder. Try starting every email with a good morning or a hello or a hi, instead of just launching into whatever it is that you have to say to the person, especially first thing in the day. Leave your personal problems outside. We all have personal issues that we have to deal with, but for the moments that you're working and you're trying to settle down and you're trying to concentrate, please try to leave your personal problems outside, especially if they are conflicts that you have with perhaps a family member or member of the team. Really set that aside. It's not going to help you if you're trying to concentrate while you're working. Be future oriented. Think about why you're doing this work. We tend to get caught up in the drudgery of set up a class, set up a meeting, set up a class, set up a meeting. And we don't think as much about why am I doing this? Where is my future going? How many classes do I need to actually reach the next goal? So begin to really think about your future. And that can be done in your times of meditation also, thinking about what are the next steps. Say thank you a lot and say it to your team members. No one is here by coercion. We're all volunteers, my friend. So taking the time to stop and say thank you to the person that you're working with or the people that you're working with. And even someone who doesn't purchase from you today, just thank them for taking time to see you, to spend time with you, and to go over the things that maybe you need and they don't, but they're offering you their time, which is an enormous gift. Take a breather. If you're really stuck or not being productive, just close the computer, go get a glass of water, walk around the block, whatever it is to get yourself focused again. I know sometimes when I'm working, we're working on 50 different things at once, and I begin to feel a little bit frustrated. I even feel like the nerves or the muscles in the back of my neck begin to tighten. And I'll often say to whoever I'm working with, you want a cup of coffee or you want a glass of water? And I'll just get up from the table and go and get something to drink. And that act of walking away and coming back can be just exactly what I need. You want to eat healthy and stay hydrated. Don't fall to the temptation of saying, hey, I'll just go to the hawker center or the food court and grab something real fast and I'll come right back. Try to sit down for a proper meal, especially a proper meal enjoyed with friends or colleagues can be another way for you to stay happy at work and stay happy when you are working. Get yourself organized, folks. If you're not completely organized, it's going to be harder for you to find papers. Everything's going to be out of place. So get as organized as you possibly can. You don't have to be crazy organized like your friend here, because I tend to be a little bit nutty. But I find that if my workspace is organized, I'm able to do so much more. Don't multitask. So how many of you have opened up the computer, the phone, and 2 other things, and maybe been texting and answering a phone call and talking to someone in your work environment? Try to stay on task. Now, when we talk about deep work, and I have mentioned the book to you, Deep Work, in the past. It's by a man named Cal Newport. He talks about really setting aside those quiet moments where you're going to plan, writing out your business plan for the month or the quarter, writing out what are your intentions for your team, maybe even doing a dream board. Those are times where we want to just concentrate on the things that we're doing. Number 11, I guess that is, accept people for who they are. Now, we all have difficult people in our teams. We have difficult people in our lives. We may be difficult ourselves. We want to make sure that as we are going throughout our day, we're accepting each person for where they are, because each person is not at the level that we're at necessarily, nor are we at the level that they are at. And so we want to make sure that each person is honored and spoken to with kindness. So accept them for who they are. Move around. Don't get stuck just sitting in front of a computer for 8 or 9 hours. Get up, stretch your legs, do some jumping jacks if you will, and reward yourself. So you had a good day. Maybe give yourself a small treat, whether it's using an essential oil that you don't usually use, or perhaps walking a new route home from work, looking at some kind of maybe a museum or another reward. I hesitate to say give yourself a food reward, because I know foods can be tricky, but you can have a food reward if that's what you choose to do. And then finally, reflect on the day. When you get into bed at the end of the day, or when you finish and you kind of close the computer at the end of the day, 5, 6 o'clock, or whatever time you're ending your day, reflect on what happened. I used to like to ask my kids, and I think they still do it on their own, what did you do right? What did you do wrong? And what could you have done better today? So just sort of a quick examination of conscience, if you will. Reflecting on the day, how did it go, and how are you present to the people around you, and did you get done what you intended and you told others that you would get done? Okay, so treat yourself to motivate yourself. This is actually the last tip. While many of us do this naturally, it's a very effective way of managing your habits and productivity. When you incorporate rewards into your productivity system, it helps train your brain to focus on goal-oriented tasks by tapping into your emotions. The reward you give yourself after completing something on your to-do list makes you feel good. Simply put, people who are happy or feel good are more productive than those that don't feel so good. So these two people obviously are shopping, but you could use any sort of motivation for yourself. And I'm going to give you actually a list of essential oils that I use to motivate myself when I've done a really good job. And here, most of you know that I tend to be a little bit cheap. So I look at these essential oils sometimes and I say, no, 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 can't use these, too expensive. No, 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 can't use too much, too expensive. But I now realize, and I did that for many, many years. I do it much less now. But I now realize that part of the beauty of working in this business is I do get exposed to some wonderful natural products. And I'm going to encourage you to use all of these or some of them, whatever you have available, and maybe treat yourself. So when you do a good job, did you have a good month? Buy yourself the Blue Tansy, buy yourself the Yarrow Pom or the Manuka, and really make sure, and from my US teams, no, Manuka is not available in the US. And some of these products may not be available outside, but you can always find someone that you can trade an essential oil with, and make sure that you have exposure to some of these beautiful essential oils. I use rose all the time for mental clarity and for emotions. Melissa, certainly for my supporting my immune system. Frankincense for the brain to really function at the highest level. Blue Tansy I love for my skin, and so for me that's a big treat, applying the Blue Tansy directly to my skin to have that sense of I'm getting younger and really rejuvenating myself. Yarrow Pom, so many good things to say about Yarrow Pom. Terrific in a small glass of water, but it is pricey. It is $95, 95 PV. For a 30 milliliter dropper bottle, but so worth it. And don't be stingy with yourself, really reward yourself. And finally, Manuka, so many wonderful uses of Manuka. Many of you know Manuka honey, and this is the essential oil that's taken from the Manuka tree. I love to be able to access these oils and take advantage of them. You may have other oils that you treat yourself with. And so I'm encouraging you to really, today, when you sit down to work, once you've completed the jobs for the day, reward yourself with the best oils in your collection and really take advantage of them, use them. It's just like taking your best china out of your cabinets and using it on a daily basis. Don't save it for the future. Really use it while you can. Okay, the last thing I want to mention to you is the Wellness Box program. So these are the recommendations, your monthly LRP for May. If you are on social media, I want you, or on the internet, you don't have to do it right this minute, but you can go to ElenaJordan.com. On the home page, scroll down and see the image. The images will be changing every month and be calculated to be at least 150 PV. We'll be editing and teaching about the monthly LRP for your market. So stay tuned for the June LRP. This is the May LRP. We called it the May LRP for Mother's Day, and obviously Mother's Day has passed, but there's always someone that you want to celebrate in your life. I would say this would be a good present for any woman. In this business, obviously, there are a lot of women. But the other thing I want to encourage you to do is, if you're on Instagram, to go to Elena Jordan on Instagram and begin to follow. We're posting a lot of new things every day. And I want to make sure you understand clearly what are some of the new initiatives that we're doing to help you and your team to grow. The Wellness Box program is really a concept that we've been talking about for a long time. The idea of encouraging people in your team not to have to hunt around and figure out what is it I should buy, or I'm not sure, really putting together packages of essential oils that they can just add into their cart and clearly understand what they are for. The other thing that we do with the Wellness Box program is that we rotate the oils 100%. So that means over 12 months, they will get completely different boxes of oils. We try not to repeat. So if someone says, yes, I want to do the Wellness Box program, and I'm going to go to ElenaJordan.com and take a look at what the monthly order is, you can rest assured that that person is going to get something different every month. Now, I'm going to mention again that I have broken the link on that page. So if you tap, you go to the page and you see the image and you you click on the box, the link is broken, and there's a reason for that. I don't want any of your teams clicking through and trying to buy oils from my page. But in the future, that link will be live. So as you're training your teams to use this program, we want to make sure that you clearly understand why they need it and how it can help them, and to help them to stay on LRP. So in the book, Essentially It's Healthcare for Today, the LRPs are calculated to be 100 PV, but the Wellness Box programs are going to be 150 PV. And my goal to you is to help this team to become the team with the greatest number of 1,500 Power of 3 bonuses. That is my goal. I want eventually this team to be recognized as the team with the highest number of Power of 3, 1,500 bonuses. And that's why we created the Wellness Box program. So stay tuned, and please begin to hunt around. I know you've got a lot of things on your plate, but this may be the ticket that you need to help your teams to begin to get on and stay on a wellness program. The other thing is we're going to be offering in the month of June, because that's my birthday month, we're going to be offering a lot of freebies and giveaways and prizes and all different sorts of things. So get on those different websites, get on Facebook, follow on Facebook, get on Instagram, follow on Instagram, and stay tuned because you're going to hear a lot of new information. Okay, remember, you are amazing. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for joining, and have a wonderful week wherever you are. Okay, everyone, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Whoops, I tried to stop the share there. Let's see if I can do it again. There we go. Okay, and we're going to pause recording. Okay, so actually I have a quick question for you. If you can comment in the comments below. How many of you are on 150 PV LRP? And how many of you are teaching it? So let's do first question. First question is, how many of you are on 150 PV LRP? Let's go there first. You can either raise your hand, you can do a little hand here, you can say it in the chat, whatever you want. I just want to get a quick sense.